Jai Charnarvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrind Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। ब्रजभूमि श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय। पुरुषोत्तम क्षेत्र जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की जय। जगन्नाथ बलदेव सुभद्रा महारानी की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी महारानी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री राधाष्टमी महामहोत्सव की जय। श्रीमती राधा रानी की जय। सामवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. So today, can I share the screen? Mataji? No. We will do Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 30, Text 28. If you can share the screen. 10, 30, 28. Okay, if nobody is able to share the screen, then I'll just read it from my computer. And if you have books, Srimad Bhagavatam, you can follow along, or you can just listen to me.
I'm not sure who the host is. Is it Ram Shamprabhu? Are you hosting today?
I don't know.
Mother Shobharati is out in Denver. Okay, why don't you just read from, we can pick up on maybe our phones.
Yes.
Or our devices or computer. 10, what did you say again? 10?
It's 10, 30, 28.
10, 30, 20. Thank you, Mataji.
Sure. Okay, so if I'll just read the Sanskrit. Anaya radhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvaraha Yanno vihaya govinda Ritoyam anayadraha. Anaya radhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvaraha Yanno vihaya govinda Ritoyam anayadraha. Anaya radhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvaraha Yanno vihaya govinda Ritoyam anayadraha. If you have it, please chant.
Anaya radhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara Yanno vihaya govinda Pritoyam anayatraha.
Anaya radhito nunam Bhagavan Haririshvara Yanno vihaya govinda Pritoyam anayad raha.
Does anyone else have the shloka? Okay. I'll just do the word-to-word translation. Anaya, by her. Aradhitaha, perfectly worshipped. Nunam, certainly. Bhagavan, the personality of Godhead. Harihi, Lord Krishna. Ishvaraha, the supreme controller. Yat, inasmuch as. Naha, us. Vihaya, rejecting. Govindaha, Lord Govinda. Pritaha, pleased. Yam, whom. Anayat, led. Rahaha, to a secluded place. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Actually, translation by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Translation: certainly, this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda. Since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. Certainly, this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda. Since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. Purport. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti explains that the word Aradhitaha refers to Srimati Radharani. He comments, the sage Sukadev Goswami has tried with all endeavor to keep her name hidden, but now it automatically shines forth from the moon of his mouth. That he has spoken her name is indeed her mercy, and thus the word Aradhitaha is like the rumbling of a kettle drum sounded to announce her great good fortune. Although the gopis spoke as if jealous of Srimati Radharani, they were actually ecstatic to see that she had captured Sri Krishna. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti quotes the following detailed description of Srimati Radharani's footprints as given by Srila Rupa Goswami in his Ujjwal Neelamani. At the base of the large toe of her left foot is the mark of a barley corn. Below that mark is a disc. Below the disc is an umbrella, and below the umbrella is a bracelet. A vertical line extends from the middle of her foot to the juncture of her large and second toes. At the base of the middle toe is a lotus. Below that is a flag with a banner. And below the flag is a creeper together with a flower. At the base of her small toe is an elephant goad, and upon her heel is a half moon. Thus, there are 11 marks on her left foot. At the base of the large toe of her right foot is a conch shell, and below that, a spear. At the base of the small toe of her right foot, is a sacrificial altar. Below that, an earring, and below the earring, a club. Along the base of the second, third, fourth, and small toes is the mark of a mountain, below which is a chariot, and on the heel is a fish. Thus, altogether, there are 19 distinguishing marks on the soles of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. Om Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Utapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So today we are celebrating the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna, Ishvara Paramaha Krishnaha Sachidananda Vigraha. Krishna is the Supreme Brahman. The absolute truth is understood in three phases. Vadanti tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. Learned transcendentalists have realized the absolute truth as Brahman, Paramatma, and ultimately as Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And even the personality of Godhead, there are various incarnations. You have the Vaikuntha planet, Lord Narayan. And beyond that is Krishna Loka. And in Krishna Loka, you have Dwaraka, Mathura. And ultimately there is Vraja, Vrindavan, where the absolute personality of Godhead, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, resides in his fullness. So in Brahma Samhita, we get a detailed description of the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda. We get an understanding of that realm, Golok Vrindavan Dham. Chintamani prakara sadma sukalpa vriksha laksha vriteshu surabhira bhipalayantam Lakshmi sahasra shata sambrama sevyamanam Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. Govindam adi purusham tamaham bhajami. This is Lord Brahma in his mature, realized state. He is offering these prayers to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Govinda, who resides in Golok Vrindavan Dham. What is happening in Golok Vrindavan Dham? Krishna is worshipped by hundreds and thousands of Lakshmis or Gopis. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. And Ekale Ishvara Krishna Are Sabhabhritya. The only enjoyer, the only Lord, the only master is Krishna. Everyone else is a servant of Krishna. This is Krishna's position. And Krishna has many energies. He has many unlimited energies. But on a broad scale, we can understand there are three types of energies: his internal energy, marginal energy, and external energy. his internal energy or spiritual energy, the very word internal means it is within him. It's not outside of him. This is called his Swarupa Shakti. Swarupa, Swarupa. Rupa is form. Swa means his personal form. Swarupa Shakti. His internal energy is called Swarupa Shakti. And within this Swarupa Shakti, again, you have different, that Swarupa Shakti has many different functions. And that energy is known by different names according to the functions. Again, on a broad scale, the internal energy has 3 types of Shaktis: Sandhini, Samvid, and Haladini. Sandhini means it is that when the Swarup Shakti or the internal energy, try to understand. Swarupa means Krishna's form is also because of this Shakti. It's part of him. Krishna's beautiful form is from this Shakti. Just like when let's say I make a beautiful art, I make a drawing. Where is that drawing coming from? My drawing ability, my creative, capacity. So this is within me. Of course, it's not exactly me because I get my powers from the Supreme Lord. But in the case of Krishna, his energy is in him. It is his Shakti. So his existence, his eternal existence, is because of his Sandhini Shakti. Samvid Shakti is his omniscience. He is cognizant of himself, of everyone else, because of his Samvid Shakti. And then the third Shakti is called Haladini Shakti. Haladini Shakti means he is the supreme enjoyer. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He is enjoying pleasure. How is he enjoying that pleasure? His enjoying pleasure, enjoying capacity is because of his Haladini Shakti. Because of this Haladini Shakti, Krishna is able to enjoy. Okay. So one philosophical point that we should understand is Shakti and Shaktiman are non-different. They're together. Like you have sun and sunlight. Sun and sunlight cannot be separated. You cannot have sun without sunlight. There's no meaning. Nor can there be sunlight without sun. Similarly, Krishna's Shaktis and Krishna are non-different. Because one cannot exist without the other. That's how we say it's non-different. So Krishna's Haladini Shakti is Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is Krishna's Haladini Shakti, the pleasure-giving potency of Krishna. She is non-different from Krishna. Spiritually, they are the same because she is his internal energy. In order to give pleasure to Krishna, this internal energy comes outside. Or now she appears as another personality for the sake of giving pleasure to Krishna. So what is the spirit of Srimati Radharani? The spirit of Srimati Radharani is to satisfy Krishna, to give pleasure to Krishna in various ways. So eternally, that one person, Supreme Parabrahman, Adi Purusha Govinda, eternally him and his internal Shakti have separated Separated means they have come in two forms as Radha and Krishna. For what purpose? For the purpose of giving pleasure to Krishna. So they are enjoying together. Now, Srimati Radharani has another extraordinary and another characteristic feature, which is our only hope. So this Haladini Shakti, the condensed form of this Haladini Shakti, is called Bhakti. How do you understand condensed form? You have milk and you cook it, and finally it is condensed and it becomes rabdi. It's a condensed milk which is offered to Krishna every day. At night you offer condensed milk to Krishna. So that's condensed. So the condensed form of the pleasure-giving potency or the Haladini Shakti is Bhakti. So now, is Bhakti outside of Krishna? No, Bhakti is his internal Shakti. It is part of Krishna. Srimati Radharani, who is the Haladini Shakti, and her condensed form is Bhakti, which is relished and enjoyed by Krishna. And this Bhakti is expressed in different tastes. Krishna relishes various tastes of this Bhakti. So there are different rasas. So there is Dasya, where Krishna is the master and the devotee is a servant. So Krishna tastes, just like you have a plate of prasad, you have sweets, you have salty, you have sour, bitter, all different types of tastes. So when you have chapan bhog, you have so many different tastes. That's a completely satisfying meal. Like that, for Krishna's pleasure, there are different tastes, different rasas. What are those rasas? Or you can call them mellows. You have Dasya, there is Sakhya. Sakhya means friendship. You are equal with Krishna. There is Vatsalya, where Krishna is your subordinate. The devotee becomes the parent of Krishna. And then there is Madhurya or Shringar Ras, the conjugal relationship with Krishna. And within this conjugal relationship, so gradually as we go from Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya to Madhurya, the intensity of bhakti or the intensity of that taste in bhakti is increasing. In other words, Krishna relishes more. He gets more, he relishes the Sakhyaras more than Dasyaras. Why? Because there is more intimacy. There is more intensity there. Intimacy is more as you go higher from Dasya to Sakhya to Vatsalya to Madhurya. Also, in the Madhurya, as you go higher, the one higher will also have the qualities of the lower rasa. So if you go to Sakhya, Sakhya will have all the qualities of Dasya plus something more. And when you go to Vatsalya, it will have the qualities of Dasya, Sakhya, and more. And finally, when you come to conjugal relationship, it will have the qualities of Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and more. In other words, someone who is in conjugal relationship with Krishna can serve Krishna in the capacity of a servant, in the capacity of a friend, in the capacity of a parent, as well as in the capacity of a lover. Now, this conjugal relationship, within this conjugal relationship, there is two. One is called wedded and one is unwedded. So within these two, wedded and unwedded, in the unwedded relationship, the intimacy is the highest, the attraction is the strongest, and there are various devotees who are in these. So it is their eternal relationship with Krishna in these various mellows. For example, if you take the conjugal relationship, wedded conjugal relationship, you will see the queens of Dwarka. If you take servitorship, Hanumanji is an example. And Sakhyaras, Arjun. Vatsalyaras, Devaki, Vasudev, Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda. So when you come to conjugal relationship, unwedded, this is found only in one place in the entire creation. This is only found in Vraja or in Vrindavan, Golok Vrindavan. You don't find this relationship even in Vaikuntha, not even in Dwaraka. So as you go higher and higher in the spiritual world, there is Vaikunthas, and beyond that is Krishna Loka. In Krishna Loka, there is Dwaraka, Mathura, and ultimately there is Vrindavan. So this Parakiya Ras or conjugal relationship, unwedded conjugal relationship, which is the most intimate, can only be found in Golok Vrindavan Dham. It cannot be found anywhere else. And who has this bhakti, this prema? The gopis have it. The gopis have this Parakiya Ras. And who are the gopis? Actually, amongst all these gopis, the best gopi is Srimati Radharani. So that is the verse that we read today. In this verse we read, certainly this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So this is spoken by the gopis when Krishna left them. Before the Rasa dance took place, when Krishna blew his flute, all the gopis left, abandoned their homes, and they went to see Krishna. And then at first Krishna told them to go back, and then they expressed, he could see how they were completely sold out to him. Then Krishna started dancing with them, and then they were feeling, there was slight pride. Oh, Krishna's dancing with me. And then Krishna disappeared from there. And all the gopis were completely devastated without Krishna. So they started looking for Krishna everywhere. They couldn't find him, and they saw his footprints. And after they went a little further, they saw the footprints of Krishna with another lady's footprints. And then they said, they understood who this person is. So then these gopis are saying, certainly this particular gopi, that means Krishna has disappeared, he went away from our vision, but he took this particular gopi with him. Certainly this particular gopi has perfectly worshipped the all-powerful personality of Godhead Govinda, since he was so pleased with her that he abandoned the rest of us and brought her to a secluded place. So the point is, the gopis are the best devotees in the whole creation. They are the topmost devotees. But even amongst the gopis, there are two principal gopis, Chandravali and Srimati Radharani. And of the two, the topmost gopi is Srimati Radharani. So I was telling you about bhakti in different mellows. So she is the storehouse of this bhakti. Srimati Radharani, it is her form. This bhakti is her very form. In Nectar of Devotion, Srila Rupa Goswami tells us, bhakti is experienced in 3 phases. There is Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti means we don't have that love for Krishna yet, but we have faith in the words of the scriptures. We understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and my duty is to render loving devotional service to Krishna. I must surrender myself to Krishna. Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. This is Krishna's instruction in Bhagavad Gita, final instruction in Bhagavad Gita. Just surrender unto me. So from that point, when one surrenders unto Krishna completely, that means he has no faith in anything except Krishna. He simply wants to render devotional service to Krishna. From that point onwards, he will begin Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti means Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atma Nivedanam. So these are the 9 forms of devotional service. There are other limbs of this bhakti, several limbs of this bhakti given by our acharyas. So one engages in bhakti 24 hours every day, either through body, mind, or words. This is pure devotional service. And when one practices this after surrendering to Krishna, it is called Sadhana Bhakti. It does not mean that one has already developed love for Krishna, but he has full faith in Krishna and he begins devotional service. This is Sadhana Bhakti. By practicing Sadhana Bhakti, one is elevated to the stage of Raganuga Bhakti, or spontaneous devotional service. By practicing, by the mercy of Krishna and spiritual master in the association of devotees, we will develop spontaneous devotional service. It is not about following rules and regulations anymore. You will naturally develop an attraction for Krishna. Naturally, now our mind goes away here and there, and we have to pull our mind back to Krishna consciousness. Whereas when you come to spontaneous platform, even if for some reason, because of living in this world, I may, even if for a moment my mind goes away to other things, spontaneously it will come back to Krishna. I don't have to pull it back to Krishna. I will have to, to do duties in this world, I may have to pull it away from Krishna to do things in this world. But the mind naturally comes back to Krishna. This is called spontaneous devotional service. And beyond this spontaneous devotional service is pure love of Godhead, called Prema Bhakti. So in Prema Bhakti, one actually develops pure love for Krishna. So there is, before that, prior to that, there is Bhava, and then there is Prema. So this Prema also has 7 stages as one progresses. Once you get Prema, it's not the end. So what is it that determines, which is higher and which is lower? It is your intense love for Krishna. The more intense your love for Krishna, then you're on a higher level. So there is Prema, then there is Raga, there is Mana, Pranaya, like that. And there's another Bhava, and ultimately there is Mahabhava. Mahabhava is the highest level of love possible for Krishna. There's only one person in the entire creation who has this Mahabhava. Can you guess who that person is? Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani. She's the only person who has that Mahabhava. So even Krishna cannot understand the depth of love of Srimati Radharani. Krishna wants to understand Srimati Radharani's love. So therefore, Krishna descends to this world as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, taking the mood of Srimati Radharani and also the complexion of Srimati Radharani. And Krishna appears in this world as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, simply to understand what is this Mahabhava, what is this love that Srimati Radharani has. And because of her love, only she can understand Krishna completely. She can relish all the qualities of Krishna completely. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatha mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham. As one approaches me, I reward him accordingly. In other words, depending on our intensity of love, in proportion to our love, Krishna reveals himself to us. Because Srimati Radharani has the highest love, Krishna is completely revealed to her. More than to Krishna himself. Krishna cannot know himself completely because he is ever expanding. You see, Krishna is constantly, his qualities are all, spiritual world means it is not you reach the ultimate point and it is finished. No, it is ever expanding. Anandambudhi vardhanam. First of all, it is like an ocean, and that ocean is ever expanding. So how can anyone find a limit to that ocean? So Krishna's qualities, Krishna's sweetness, Krishna's beauty is ever expanding. So who can find the limit to Krishna's qualities? But with Srimati Radharani, because of her love, when Krishna's beauty increases, her love is also ever expanding. So only she is able to relish Krishna's qualities completely, no one else. So Krishna wants to understand, what is it about myself? Once Krishna saw his own reflection in a wall. You see, must be a crystal wall or something, right? This is in the spiritual world. So he sees his reflection, and Krishna becomes attracted to this personality that he's seeing in the wall. And he's thinking, wow, who is this? Such a beautiful person. That was himself. So even Krishna becomes attracted to his own form. But the thing is, Krishna is in the position of the enjoyer. See, if I'm sitting here, I don't have a mirror. Let's say I don't have the camera. I cannot see myself, but you people can see me. So Krishna is in the position of Vishaya, whereas Srimati Radharani is in the position of Ashraya. She is able to see the qualities of Krishna because of her position as a lover, as a position as a devotee. And Krishna is the object of her love. So she is able to relish Krishna's qualities. Krishna is not able to. So therefore Krishna desired to take the position of Radharani. How is it possible? Anything is possible for Krishna. So Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna himself with the heart of Srimati Radharani. So now Krishna is looking at Krishna with Mahabhava of Srimati Radharani. So this is the glory of Srimati Radharani. And also Krishna wanted to know what is the happiness that Srimati Radharani is experiencing. What is the love? How does it feel like to love Krishna? What are the qualities, sweetness? What is the sweetness of Krishna? And also, what is the happiness that one receives, that Srimati Radharani receives when she is loving Krishna? To understand this, Krishna himself appeared as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, this bhakti, I was telling you, for us, our only hope is Srimati Radharani, because I see there is Sadhana Bhakti, there is Bhava Bhakti, there is Prema Bhakti. So, bhakti is available for people from all backgrounds. I may not be on the Prema Bhakti platform, but Srimati Radharani is so merciful, she's extending that bhakti to everyone. Bhakti is not my property. whatever devotional service I am rendering to Krishna, it is not mine. Bhakti is Krishna's internal potency. It is the condensed form of the Halladini Shakti or Srimati Radharani, which is simply meant for Krishna, to be relished by Krishna. But out of his causeless mercy, and also Srimati Radharani, you see, she is all inclusive. She's including everyone else. And that is the rasa dance. Rasa dance means this bhakti is now shared with everyone so that Krishna can enjoy best. So therefore, we always seek the shelter of Srimati Radharani's lotus feet. By her mercy, if we get a drop of bhakti for Krishna, then my life is perfect. And coming in the line of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, in the line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, our acharyas, the 6 Goswamis, Sri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath, Sri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Das Raghunath, they are the assistants of Srimati Radharani and her confidential Sakhis. Now, who are these Sakhis? This also we see in the Brahma Samhita. What is the position of these Sakhis? So in Brahma Samhita 537, it is said, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabhis Tabhirya Eva Nijarupataya Kalabhi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilatma Bhuto Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, residing in his own realm Goloka with Radha, resembling his own spiritual figure. That means Radha and Krishna are of the same substance. They are the same constitution. Yes, they are both the same person. So Krishna is residing in Golok Vrindavan Dham along with Srimati Radharani, who is his own spiritual figure. She resembles his own spiritual figure. And she's the embodiment of the ecstatic potency, pleasure-giving potency. So if you turned that Shakti into a person, that is Srimati Radharani. The pleasure-giving potency, that is Srimati Radharani. And she's completely expert in giving pleasure to Krishna. She's possessed of 64 artistic activities. And she expands. So she's performing these wonderful artistic activities for the pleasure of Krishna in the company of her confidential associates called Sakhis. Now, who are these Sakhis? They are embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form. That means she herself is expanding into all these gopis. Why? Each gopi has a particular mood which can be relished by Krishna in that conjugal relationship, Parakiya Rasa. All the gopis, her confidential associates, the gopis, they are extensions of her bodily form. So you see, just like Krishna is the source of all incarnations, yes, from Krishna there is first Lord Balaram, then from Lord Balaram there is Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, and then from there we have Lord Narayan, then second Chaturvyuha, like that, expansions. Similarly, Srimati Radharani is the pleasure potency of Krishna, and she expands as the pleasure potency of Lord Balaram. She will expand as the pleasure potency of Lord Narayan, Lakshmi Devi, Lord Ramchandra's Sita Devi. Everyone is actually having their source in Srimati Radharani, just as all the Vishnu Tattvas have their source in Krishna. But still there is difference in these. Just like by Vishnu Tattva and Krishna, there is some difference, isn't it? So Srimati the Lakshmis and Vaikuntha, they are partial manifestations of Srimati Radharani. The queens of Dwaraka, they are reflections of Srimati Radharani. And the gopis are the personal expansions of Srimati Radharani. She's personally expanding. Just like in Rasa dance, Krishna has expanded into so many forms. They're all identical. They're called Prabhava Prakash. They look exactly the same. He's the same person in so many different forms for the sake of that pastime. Similarly, Srimati Radharani is also expanding into so many forms as so many gopis for that pastime. What is the purpose? So that Krishna can relish various mellows. So that's what we were reading in the Brahma Samhita. It says that she's always serving Krishna. She's possessed of these 64 artistic activities, and she's serving Krishna along with her confidential Sakhis, who are the embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by his ever blissful spiritual rasa, like that. And also in Nectar of Devotion, we will read about the position of Srimati Radharani. So there are 11 verses in, Nectar of Instruction. There are 11 verses in Nectar of Instruction, beginning from initial stages of bhakti, how we should be enthusiastic. Sadhana Bhakti, you should be enthusiastic in bhakti, and you should follow the rules and regulations. You should be patiently performing your devotional service, have confidence in Krishna, avoid materialistic association, and gradually going through higher and higher levels, finally coming to the culmination. So what are the later verses of Nectar of Instruction? They're glorifying Srimati Radharani and her lake Radha Kund. So text 10 says, in the Shastra, it is said that of all types of fruitive workers, so this is the hierarchy. You have karmis, jnanis, like that. So fruitive workers means karmis. Of all karmis, he who is advanced in knowledge of higher values of life, he is favored by Lord Hari. So of all karmis, one jnani is better. And amongst all jnanis, one who is actually liberated and then takes to devotional service. What is that? Brahma bhuta prasannatma na sochati na kankshati. That means I have realized I'm not this body, I'm a spirit soul. Brahma bhuta stage. Then I'm na sochati na kankshati. Then what is the next step? Samah sarveshu bhuteshu mad bhaktim labhate param. Then he can enter into bhakti after coming to the Brahma bhuta platform. So of all the jnanis, that jnani who has actually taken to devotional service, he is the best. Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan mam prapadyate. After many, many births, one jnani will begin to worship Krishna. So he is better than all the other jnanis. But one who has attained prema, now I have started performing bhakti, but now I have to go through sadhana bhakti, bhava bhakti, and ultimately come to prema bhakti. So that devotee who has attained prema or pure love of Krishna, he is the best. He is superior to all the other bhaktas. Now amongst those devotees who have attained prema, so prema again you will have dasyaras, sakhyaras, and madhuryaras, and you have swakyaras and parakyaras. The topmost, the gopis are the exalted above all the advanced devotees. Of all the premi bhaktas who have attained prema, the best are the gopis. Why? Because they are always totally dependent upon Sri Krishna, the transcendental cowherd boy. But that's not the end. Among the gopis, Srimati Radharani is the most dear to Krishna. And like Srimati Radharani, her lake, Radha Kund, is as profoundly dear to Lord Krishna as this most beloved of the gopis. So what is the best form of devotional service then? Best form of devotional service is to reside on the bank of Radha Kund and bathe there. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains, even if we are not able to live there all the time, at least once we should go, as many times as possible. Srila Prabhupada says, we must at least go and bathe in that Radha Kund. What is this Radha Kund? This Radha Kund is the love of Srimati Radharani for Krishna. So in essence, our only connection with Krishna, is only possible through Srimati Radharani. And Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, of course, he's relishing Srimati Radharani's love himself. But while doing that, he's also distributing this love of Raja to the people of this conditioned world in the form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And his most compassionate servant, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, has brought this love that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing. He has brought it to the entire world, to each and every one of us. So we are eternally indebted to Srila Prabhupada, to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to Srimati Radharani. So we can never repay this debt. All we can do is we can assist her servants. We can assist Srila Prabhupada and his servants. This is the mission of Krishna. This is Krishna's mission. What is Srimati Radharani's mood? Her mood is to please Krishna. What pleases Krishna? Krishna cannot stand to see all of us suffering here in this world. He wants us to go back to Godhead. So any devotee who tries to bring, who gives Krishna consciousness to others, that devotee becomes very dear to Krishna. And the best devotee is Srimati Radharani. And we come in the line of Srimati Radharani's servants, the 6 Goswamis and our entire Guru Parampara, coming to Srila Prabhupada and his followers. And if we serve, if we try to practice this Krishna consciousness ourselves, Sadhana Bhakti, and then we also help others to take to this Bhakti, that will be our offering to Srimati Radharani. That way we can express our gratitude to Srimati Radharani. Shri Radhashtami ki jai, Srimati Radharani ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And please forgive me for my lacking things. Hare Krishna. Is there any question? I'm not able to answer any questions, but thank you very much for joining this morning. Wish you all a very happy, blessed Radhashtami 2022. Hare Krishna. Yes, Shyamal Gopika Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much for very nectarian pastimes of Srimati Radharani and glories of Radharani. So a very small question, Mataji, like as a sadhaka practitioner, so we generally don't hear much about glories of Srimati Radharani except on Radhashtami, because most of the time, like Prabhupada specifically told, like we should not go and study even 10 canto unless we are qualified for that. So especially also when we have deities, so then it is very easy to develop the attachment to the deities. So for example, like I was earlier attached to Jagannath Valdeshwatra, and then Gaurnitai was not attached, but now I was serving Gaurnitai, so I am attached to them. So but Krishna, somehow like we are because we are hearing a lot about Krishna's mercy, so we get attached. But Radharani is very rarely we are hearing the glories, and so how we can develop that natural attraction for Srimati Radharani also, because we understand only by the mercy of Srimati Radharani we can attain the pure love for Krishna. So how we can naturally develop that attraction for Srimati Radharani as a sadhaka?
Yeah. Actually, everything that we do is coming from Srimati Radharani only. So Srila Prabhupada said, if we simply followed the practice that is given by Srila Prabhupada, chanting Hare Krishna sincerely, that Hare Krishna is Hey Radhe and Krishna together, Radhe and Krishna. So Hare Krishna means we are actually calling out to Srimati Radharani, and that is service to Srimati Radharani. When we render service, then we will, our eternal love will be awakened. So, but of course, it is not by our endeavor. It has to be given to us. So, Utsahat Nishchayat Dhairyat Tat Karma Pravartanat. Now, with great enthusiasm, carry out the services that are given by Srila Prabhupada, the instructions given by Srila Prabhupada, with confidence that yes, one day I will receive. I'm already receiving. I'm just not able to see it. I am receiving the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Otherwise, I wouldn't even be chanting Hare Krishna. I wouldn't be in the association of devotees. I wouldn't come to the shelter of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada's mercy is Radharani's mercy. I am already receiving Srimati Radharani's mercy. But I want to have that deep attraction and attachment to Srimati Radharani. Then we can pray for that. Especially today is a very good day. We can pray to Srimati Radharani to give us that attachment to her lotus feet. And but it will come when it is given. It will come when it is given. And the way to get Krishna's attention is by sincerely doing our duties, right? Whatever devotional service we are rendering, if we are doing it with great sincerity, then that will, Krishna will take note of that. Like Srila Prabhupada's spiritual master, Prabhupada would go and sit and listen. When everyone else is going in parikrama here and there, Srila Prabhupada was very keen on hearing from his Guru Maharaj, even though he said he couldn't actually comprehend everything, but just he liked to sit and listen to his Guru Maharaj. And his Guru Maharaj noted that he listens nicely. I will give him initiation. So like that, we have to render service in such a way that Srimati Radharani will notice us. And when she notices us, then she will recommend us to Krishna. And then we will get love like that. But meanwhile, they have given us everything, our acharyas. It's they're all simple and sublime, the instructions. Utsahat, maintain that enthusiasm and have confidence that the result will come. It's not that it won't work, it will work. Someday it will work. But while doing it itself, we feel jubilant, don't we? So Utsahat, Nishchayat, Dhairyat. And if we are not feeling, have patience and continue. This is the only path, right? And then Tat Karma Pravartanat. Very vigilantly follow the rules that are given to us. Like that, Mataji. I think Acharya Prabhu would like to add something. Prabhuji, go ahead, Prabhuji.
Yes, thank you. That was a great answer. But I also wanted to add to that question that, of course, in general, we don't speak publicly about Radharani, except Radhashtami, and that's in good taste and everything. But as for her question, if we're making a concentrated and regular reading of Srila Prabhupada's books, we actually get a lot of Radha Katha. If you're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, if you're reading Nectar of Devotion, even in Bhagavad Gita, he mentions here and there, and in the Bhagavatam from the very first verse of the first canto. So public discussion, not so much, except on a day like today, but a concentrated and regular reading of Prabhupada's books will give us a lot of Radha Katha and a lot of Radha Tattva and information about her that we can, relish and use to grow our devotional service. So I just wanted to throw that in. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Yes, Mataji. So
thank you so much, Mataji, and thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So if there's no other, yes. Dronacharya Prabhu.
Hi, Hare Krishna, Mother Arcanabhakti. Thank you so much for a wonderful, wonderful class this morning. Really setting our consciousness on this important day of Radhashtami. The Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, I remember when I first found out that when we say Hare, we're actually addressing Srimati Radharani. And it was actually years before someone actually told me that. And it made a big difference in my chanting, because when we say, oh, energy of the Lord, it was just kind of a very ambiguous type of like, okay, it is an energy of the Lord. Is it, you know, there's lots of energies of the Lord as we hear about, and like, it wasn't very specific. I was at a japa retreat with His Holiness Sachinandana Maharaj, and he passed out this form, or this sheet, and it was, I think it was written by Gopal Guru, the famous Gopal Guru from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I believe it was, and it basically broke down different, you know, prayers that was being made, and it was like, oh, you know, it was prayers to, you know, Radharani and prayers to Krishna. The Hares were prayers to Radharani. The Krishnas were prayers to Krishna, and it's just something I think we need to make known to people more. That this Hare is, you know, especially the practicing devotees, if they don't know that. It's really, you know, asking Radha and Krishna to engage us in their service. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up.
I was also thinking, Dronacharya Prabhu, we hear this also in classes, but also from our experience, you know, if you have to approach the Father, it's very, you know, there's that reverence, and, you know, it's not easy, but approaching Mother is very, you know, anything you want, you can go and tell your mother, and then she can present it to the Father. So actually it's much easier, you know, when you have a mother. So as when you said that you didn't know earlier, then it's like approaching the Supreme Father. It's much easier, and it's very, very, you know, you feel very sheltered when you go through, you know, Srimati Radharani, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Then you're like, she's there, and then, you know, she can present it to Krishna. I don't have any qualification, but she's so merciful, so kind, you know. So just wanted to add that there.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yes,
very nice class, really, very nice. And just want to say something on Radhashtami too. I feel that when you really desire to have devotion for Radha and Krishna, when you really have desire, then even if you have obstacles, she removes the obstacles and guides you how to do it.
Yes.
This morning I chanted 2 rounds. I don't know why it came into my mind to do it in the morning only. So I think I had a desire, and Radhashtami, on this day she helped. That's how I feel.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. That's true, actually. So our Guru Tattva, right, is Nityananda Prabhu. But Nityananda Prabhu is bringing all the qualified souls, the devotees, and offering them to Srimati Radharani, and Srimati Radharani is offering to Krishna. So the spiritual master, the role of spiritual master, of course, you cannot approach Krishna directly. You can offer it to the spiritual master, and the spiritual master offers it to Krishna. But the spiritual master, another important role is, yes, we've given this method, the procedure, chanting Hare Krishna, practicing. The method has been given to us. But simply by my chanting, I cannot remove big obstacles which are blocking my progress in spiritual life. So it's the example is like a field. When you're plowing the field, sometimes there are big, rocks. So those have to be removed. And just like you have a seed of the devotional creeper, you have a plant. You sow the seed. The soil has to be soft before you plant. It has to be, plowed. But sometimes if the seed is dropped on a rock, is the seed going to be able to germinate, and, is the plant going to come? No, that rock has to be removed. It has to be placed on the proper soil. So all these things are actually done by the spiritual master. And as I said, the spiritual master, it's the whole parampara. And then Nityananda Prabhu is bringing them to Srimati Radharani. Srimati Radharani is offering to Krishna. So we have any obstacles on our path, Srimati Radharani, through her assistance, she helps us overcome those obstacles so that we can progress in bhakti. Thank you, Suman Mataji, for that contribution.
Thank you very much, Mataji. Very nice class and very inspiring also. And you told so many things, how we can take shelter of the lotus feet of Radharani, which are the most important to take shelter of. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji, Shiv Kumar Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandas Pranams always Srila Prabhupada. Thank you for such a wonderful nectarian class, Mataji, and helping us set a mode, so we can carry forward the whole day and remember Srimati Radharani and pray to her lotus feet. Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you for your kindness. Thank you for your support and encouraging me. Hare Krishna. Okay, so we will end the class. Thank you very much. Wish you all a very blessed Radhashtami. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you again, Mother Arcanabhakti Mataji. To remind the devotees that we will begin the Radhashtami festival at 10 o'clock a.m. at the temple, and it'll go until lunchtime. We'll break fast with Radharani's feast, and then afterwards we're going to go on Harinam Sankirtan down in Rittenhouse Square. We hope that you can all make it. If you need a ride down there, there'll be different devotees driving, so we can carpool. If you're interested in driving as well, that's also good. So you can maybe take somebody with you. Okay. Srimati Radharani ki
Jai.
Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai.
Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrinda
Ki Jai.
Pancha
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Nanta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai.
Ki Jai.
Prabhupada ki Jai. Thank you.